super serious. Okay, test. Can you hear me, chat? I hope you can. Apparently, I having some camera issues. I think it may actually died on me, and because of that, you guys are not going to show any skin. Yeah, sorry, my bad. You guys aren't going to see any skin today. I shouldn't be talking and doing something else at the same time. I'm trying to get the chat to appear on my phone, so it's actually hard to focus on talking and doing this activity. But now that it is done, I can begin actually speaking to the chat. You know, instead of a second monitor, I realized I can get a second phone. It's actually kind of cool. I should do that. All right. So today, many things have happened. Apparently, the developer of the Coffin of Andy and Lele has been doxxed. I'm pretty sure you guys know the story. This is a indie video game which apparently sold around 100,000 copies, which means that if a copy costs $10, if my math checks out, it's more than $1 million in revenue, right? Now, usually the developer doesn't get all that money. She probably got half of it because Steam is greedy and takes around 40%. She didn't have a publisher, so they didn't take 10% off or 20 or how much a publisher would normally get. I think like standard rates is like 20, 30%. So 40 with Steam, like another 20 with the publisher. Yeah, you can see that the developer doesn't end up with much usually, and then you also have the tax man that cometh, and they take even more off of that. So yeah, as is tradition. Which means that if you make $1 million, well, you may actually make like 300,000 in total. Not that much, I know. But still, it's very impressive for an indie game company to make that, right? Like, it's still a lot. Unfortunately, however, she got in a little bit of a controversy with the people that decide what individuals like us should be exposed to. There are a couple of people on Twitter, very moral folk, flags in the bio, various acronyms that your mother probably doesn't even know what they mean. But these individuals, they make their life on Twitter, and their primary concern is what you are allowed to experience. Like what video games you're allowed to play, what movies you're allowed to watch, what TV shows you're allowed to enjoy, because they believe that you are an unhinged individual. The people on Twitter believe that at any point you're going to snap. You're going to commit criminal behavior. Unless you only watch the movies and TV shows and video games that they allow you to watch. And in order to get that to happen, they have to harass video game developers, they have to harass companies, they have to create this environment of unsafety unless the companies make entertainment that they consider safe. So what they did is they doxed the lady which made the video game The Coffin of Andy and Lele, and they chased her off the internet. Apparently, the video game, it had in one of its endings, and it wasn't even like easy to get ending, but in one of the endings, it had implications of incest. So not actual incest, but it implied in a dream state. And this is in the video game that treats subjects like death, murder, satanic rituals, like cannibalism. None of that is a problem, right? But the incest was. And again, like these individuals believe you're going to snap. Like if you watch that, who knows? Maybe you're going to have sex with your sister or some shit. I don't know why, but they thought that in order to prevent society from people having sex with their sisters, the developer from Andy and Lele should be, had to be doxxed, right? So she got doxxed. And because this is a person that genuinely valued her privacy, she decided to delete all of her previous games from itch.io and left the internet. So there's that, the good, decent folk on Twitter, yet again, have managed to protect society from evil entertainment that is unsafe, dangerous, etc., etc. There was another controversy, also today. Same individuals, by the way, like same people that are very worried with the type of media that people like you and I consume. They noticed that Resident Evil did something bad. So Resident Evil is made by Capcom, a Japanese company, and they usually will make like a new Resident Evil game, and sometimes like the characters from a previous title, they get to age up, they get to mature. And they will often include DLC that has costumes from previous games. So for instance, right, you have Resident Evil 2. And then you have like Leon Kennedy, right? Like he is a he is a police officer in Resident Evil 2. But in Resident Evil 4, he aged up, and now he's not a police officer. Now he's I guess like a Secret Service agent working for the president. But in a DLC, you can get like his old costume. So they added a costume in Resident Evil 6, like as you can see here, for one Cherry Birkin. Now Cherry Birkin appears in Resident Evil 2 as she's a little girl, but in Resident Evil 6, she's an adult woman, and she's wearing this, I guess like schoolgirl uniform, right? Which is her costume from Resident Evil 2. Now, you gotta understand, people on Twitter, the ones that decide what individuals like us are allowed to play, what we are allowed to watch, what entertainment we are allowed to consume through their graces, they're still stuck into the third wave feminist mindset. Like, the reality is that they hate the male gaze. This is very simple, right? Like there's no philosophy or deep thought, no, they just hate the male gaze. But unfortunately, most people don't agree with them. In fact, the world has moved away from third wave feminism for quite a while. That now it's all about trans issues, that, like, you can't have third wave feminism and complain about the wage gap when at any point a person that's a man can identify as a woman and you fix the wage gap. Or vice versa, right? Can I make it bigger? It doesn't have to be fucking bigger. Like, you just need to understand what we're seeing. I can't zoom fucking in, chat. I can't zoom fucking in because I'm using the snipping tool so that you can't see the individual which posted this shit. Alright? Shut the fuck up. You don't need it bigger. You just needed to see what I'm talking about. So anyway. Yeah, because no one gazes at them, pretty much. Right? So like, these individuals, they don't like the male gaze at all. But they can't articulate that because they know most people will disagree with them. And they know, like, no one is supporting their fringe beliefs. So what they do instead is they try to do the same shaming tactics that have been done and have worked for feminism, which is, like, call things that they don't like racist or sexist. But again, like, the problem is most people now do not really care about the label. It's like, oh, you're a racist or a sexist. Oh, so like what? Like, he played Call of Duty and did racism on the keyboard. Is that it? Right? Like it kind of lost its meaning. So now they're going to say that if you like this, you're a pedophile. Like they're going there because they used up every single other insult. Like, every single else that they're saying has lost its merit. So the only thing that remains that may get people to feel ashamed is if they're calling them pedophiles because they love an adult woman in a fictional video game. Now, it's interesting because, again, like, they do not know the lore. This is why they're called tourists. They do not play the game. They do not understand the game. They just think, oh, Sherry is underage, right? So, like, if they think that if she is 17, like, if the developer of the game presses backspace on his keyboard and changes from 8 to 7, you automatically just become a pedophile because you like this character. It's how it works, right? Like, this is how the universe functions. If I draw a female character, if I draw a succubus, and I show it to the chat. If you guys like it, well, it depends. Now it's up to me. If I say that she's 17, all of you just magically turn pedophile. This is the mentality from Twitter. This is the morality of the people that get to decide what entertainment you consume or not. Alright? Like it's the magic wand. It's like, do you like the succubus? And you say yes. And I'm like, she's 17, you chomo. But anyway, right, moving on. Apparently when told that no, actually she's an adult, now they have to move the goalpost, right? So now they move the goalpost and they say that any adult woman, now get this, this is like, any adult woman in fiction, if she is wearing a schoolgirl uniform, you're still a pedophile, because why would you like a woman to wear an outfit designed for children? Holy shit, these people belong in a university. I mean, this is some deep level of constructive criticism that completely blows me away. I don't even fucking know how to respond to that, chat. I mean, it's logic. It's logic. What can you say? That's mind-blowing. Yes, I mean, if a grown-ass woman wears a schoolgirl uniform, and I appreciate the aesthetics, well, I guess the FBI should pay me a visit, shouldn't it? Yes, American Outlier. People are mad at anime. Thank you for the $2 donation. It's stretching? No, it's not. It's common morality. This is how normal people think. Okay? Like, this is perfectly sane. This is rational thought. This is what a normal individual would say. Anyway, right, so, My argument was, like, I had the question for these individuals, which blocked me after I asked this question. I don't know why, but I suppose it's because they went to do more research. They had to study on it, because I asked, like, a very pertinent question. I was like, okay, so if a woman asks her husband to cosplay as a Boy Scout, is she a pedophile? And they blocked me. Like they must, the reason they blocked me, I think, is because they want a little bit of quietness as they're pondering this philosophical dilemma. Like they're now studying deeply, that they have brought their books and they're reading, and they're getting together, they're communicating, and I'm sure they're going to go back on me and tell me if a wife asks her husband to dress as a Boy Scout, if she's a pedophile or not. What if a 14-year-old man wears a schoolgirl uniform? That's another question that I didn't think about asking. See, if they come back to me with this, I will then ask, like, what if a man that's 45 years old wears a schoolgirl uniform? Is that also? My fucking god, these people. Holy shit. Unironically, like, Jesus fucking Christ. No. Anyway, right. So, hold on, because I lost my train of thought. This isn't where the story ended. Like, there's more to say. I know. But my point is, the schoolgirl uniform, right? It is one of the most commercialized Halloween costumes. Like, I looked it up. Second only to the maid. And third to so you have, like, the maid, which is, like, the most popular costume for Halloween. Then you have the schoolgirl uniform, and then finally you have the nurse or the doctor. I mean, it's such a fucking bizarre logic, isn't it? Because I genuinely, like, tried to understand what they were saying. Like, if a woman wears a schoolgirl uniform and you like that, like, we're talking about an adult woman, right? So if an adult woman wears a schoolgirl uniform and you like that, does that make you a pedophile? That's what they think, right? Like, they think that you should be on a watch list. So all those millions of people that played the game, that bought Resident Evil, like, we're talking about millions of people, they're pedophiles in waiting, chat. Like at any point they can snap, according to people on Twitter. Like, they would put, I don't know, like, I think it's like more than 10% of their entire nation on surveillance. Like the FBI would probably need more resources. They would need more people in order to be able to make sure that all these individuals who play Resident Evil are under some sort of surveillance. There are grown men wearing diapers who get a pass. I don't get it. It's because it's all about the male gaze. Like this is how you demolish the tourists now. There's two ways of demolishing the tourists. Number one, their lives are public. You literally go into their Twitter timeline, and 9 out of 10 times you're going to find some of the most degenerate stuff there, right? Like, while they're lecturing you about liking a video game character from a widely commercial video game. Like, we're not talking about some esoteric shit. We're not talking like some stuff that you get off of DL side. No. Like major video game or major anime like My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, if you like those, yeah, they literally believe you should be on an FBI watch list. Because they hate the male gaze, right? So like you go into their timeline, you watch their stuff, and you're usually going to find like homoeroticism, paraphilia, furry stuff, like 9 out of 10 times. That's how you demolish the tourist. The other way you can demolish the tourist, you'll be like, is this about kids or do you hate the male gaze? And they will just unironically admit that they hate the male gaze, in which case the public notices what they're doing. Like, yes, it's not about protecting kids. It's literally the fact that they are third-wave feminists that didn't move along. So their tactic isn't to actually convince you to stop watching the anime. Their tactic is to convince the anime studio or the gaming company to stop doing what they are doing because they're actually helping pedophiles. It's the same argument that they used in order to get control of gaming. When they got control of gaming, they would call gamers racist and sexist. They weren't like trying to persuade gamers to stop playing video games. They were trying to convince video game studios to stop making the entertainment for racists and sexists. In reality, like, no one was racist or sexist, right? The reality was that video games were better without their help. And the reality is that video games are still racist and sexist if you were to apply, like, their definition and standards. Have a super chat before Leo Vardraker Stormtrooper put me away for 5 years for having a Pepe meme on my phone. Oh my god, David, delete that. So anyway, right, this was their standard, right? Because she's wearing a schoolgirl uniform. Now, I'm also, like, curious, if you have, like, a role play between a man who likes to portray himself as a criminal and the female police officer arrests him. Like, do these people literally believe that the man genuinely wants to be arrested, like genuinely wants to commit a crime and go to prison? Or is it something that's called a kink? Like, some people may have fantasies without actually wanting them to become real. I mean, who knows, right? It's difficult. The people on Twitter still haven't got back to me with my first question, so I don't see why I should even moralize further, but when pressed with the reality of the situation that, okay, well, maybe an adult woman wearing a schoolgirl uniform isn't that bad. I mean, if you think about it, you wouldn't have schoolgirl uniforms for adult women unless adult women would buy it. Like, an industry wouldn't exist without customers. They then said, well, actually, you know, the problem is because Sherry appears as a little girl in Resident Evil 2, and because she appears as a little girl in Resident Evil 2, then in Resident Evil 6, even though she's an adult, you're still kind of a pedophile if you like her, because she was a little girl in Resident Evil 2. Again, like the logic is insurmountable, irrefutable. I don't know how to refute this shit. Do you know, chat? I mean, this is... I think that I'm a skilled debater. Like I can hold my own in a public conversation. I can debate people, but like this, oh my god! So Tomb Raider, I think like in the last game, she appears as a child in a memory, right? Like she's a little kid, and they have this thing where she's going around her mansion. Playing, and then her dad gets shot. If you play the last Tomb Raider, you know what I'm talking about. But like, you're not allowed to like Lara Croft anymore because in a game she appeared as a child, and if you like her, you're a pedophile. Even if you like the adult version, that's what I'm talking about, right? So like the Tomb Raider, the one with 2 guns and big tits, yeah. Everybody was a little girl once. Yeah, I know. Like, it's kind of a problem with my wife. I mean, if I go on her Facebook page, I still see pictures of her when she was younger, so very problematic. I mean, people on Twitter may disapprove of that. If I go through the family album and I see pictures of my wife when she was a child, I don't know. Chat, what does that mean? What does that mean, chat? Can I say that she's cute? Like if I see, my wife when she was 7 and she was making sandcastles on the beach, like she's got this picture in a family photo. Like if I say that she's cute, is it problematic? I don't know. I need to ask the people on Twitter. I don't want to be a bad person, chat. I don't know what to do. Thor appeared as a child in the first movie. Did he? I don't think he did. Oh my god, I don't think he did. Oh, the games don't start with her a little... So I suppose we need to... Hold on, we need to add an asterisk to the muy problemática. So if she starts as a little girl, then that's bad. But if she appears as a little girl later on, as a cutscene, I guess, like as a flashback, then that's okay. I see. So basically Bayonetta is still fine, because even Bayonetta appears as a little girl. For me, I'm part of the people who wished his girlfriend was about that younger or looked that, but I'm not gonna hate on those skins. I see. Fucking Christ. We are talking about a video game, right? Like, if they genuinely believe that video games are indicators to catch criminals in real life, don't you think, like, the FBI would actually have done it by now? Like if there were studies to show. Because the thing is, I will tell you why this triggers me so fucking much. Because I always wonder, like, why exactly does this trigger me, though? Like, why do I care so much about what people on Twitter say and do? And there's 2 reasons, like, number one, it's because it's the same ideology that hates the male gaze. Like, they're trying to get men to believe that if they like this, there's something wrong with them. Like, if you're a man and you like looking at a girl with long legs, there's something inherently wrong with you. You're a bad person. You're about to snap, basically. That's what they're trying to say. That if you're a man and you don't act as if you're castrated, that you're just like a dangerous individual, ready to snap at any point. And they're afraid. Right? Allegedly. They're afraid while suppressing your desires and everything that, like, on one hand, they will say that a person's sexual identity is incredibly important, right? Like they are part of the ideology that believes a person's identity equals their politics, and it is so important to the fundament of their being that disagreeing with their identity politics means that you're robbing them of their human rights. And then they go around and they try to rob people of their sexuality as well. It's like, if you like this, there's something inherently wrong with you. Like, your sexuality is not acceptable. So that is like the first reason why it triggers me so much. But I think there's another reason. It triggers me because when I grew up with a lot of moral busybodies as well. They didn't like the shows that I was watching. They didn't like the music that I was listening to. They didn't like the movies that I was enjoying. If I like heavy metal, it's because it's the music of the devil, and I'm going to start worshiping Satan. If I liked TV shows that were violent, it's because I'm a serial killer that's willing to snap. That's what they believed, right? Like, if you like GTA as a video game, if you like any sort, like Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, any sort of video game that was a first-person shooter, even Doom, it's because, like, you're a serial killer that's about to snap. That's what Jack Thompson used to say. That was the argument back then. And it's the same fucking argument now, chat. It's literally the same fucking argument where you're not allowed to enjoy the medium that you know is harmless and it doesn't hurt anyone. Like this shit is literally harmless. You got like a girl that's dressed in a costume, which is revealing, right? Like, people, when they look at a schoolgirl uniform like this, they're not like thinking child. They're thinking, wow, nice legs. Wow, that's a sexy abs. Like that's what normal people are thinking. But then you have Twitter. And the problem with Twitter, like, it's fine if you want to believe whatever bullshit you want to believe. Like there's a lot of people that believe in some really crazy stuff. That's fine. But I do not want the crazy people to organize my entertainment, to decide what I am allowed and not allowed to watch. Like if you're a crazy person, decide for yourself. You don't want to watch this, don't fucking watch it. This is fine. But the fact that they get to decide for me is what really pisses me off. It depends on the video game. Honestly, Doom is just a gore fest, and we love it. But Call of Duty is more mission objective based, besides on the multiplayer. No, it doesn't depend on the video game. Look, man, there's a difference between fiction and reality. Okay, like just because I like playing Mortal Kombat and I like the fatalities doesn't mean that if I was to see actual Mortal Kombat fatalities in real life, that doesn't mean that I would enjoy it. Holy shit. Like it's, you know, just because I get to see violence in entertainment and I like watching a slasher movie, like I genuinely like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I like that movie. I think it's a great movie, right? But I wouldn't like to see it in fucking real life. Fuck is wrong with people? Like, my brain is capable in differentiating between something that's true and something that's fiction. Jesus. And the people on Twitter don't get that. Now, I'm not saying that fiction can't influence people, because it can. You know, I'm willing to bet that if you watch a lot of slasher films, you know, when you watch a lot of gore stuff, when you see gore on the news, you may be a little bit more desensitized, right? You're not the same. I mean, you're still affected, but emotionally speaking, you're not, because you're kind of used to. Like, for instance, being a doctor, right? Like, if you're a surgeon and you cut people open for a living, when you finally get to see in real life, let's say you see a car crash, and you see a person that's opened up, and everyone else is freaking out, you're going to maintain your calm. Because you already seen so many people opened up on your surgery table, right? So you still get to feel that disturbedness. It's like, it's not, I mean, you're seeing a body, right? So it's still gruesome. But you're not going to act the same like other people who haven't been exposed to that level of carnage. Because you're a surgeon, so you see people, right? It's like, there are a couple of things that can desensitize you, but it still doesn't transform you into a monster. Like, just because you're a surgeon and you see people opened up, it doesn't mean that you're going to start becoming a serial killer. There's a difference between fiction and reality, but if the fiction is closer to reality, like Arma, people will not want to play it. That is also true. Yeah, like if the fiction is too close to reality, it can be very disturbing. Like, for instance, if Redo of Healer would actually have realistic representation of actual people, I think it would be a lot more disturbing, and it would have fewer fans. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Ireland. So, politicians in Ireland are freaking the fuck out. And it's not like they're freaking out, because I was trying to see, like, have any minorities been injured? Has there been any crimes done against No. But the reason politicians in Ireland are freaking out is because people may not vote for them. Unironically, this is what I think. It's because people may start their own political parties and vote for the opposition. So they have to draft some of the most draconic hate speech laws in existence. Like, I'm going to talk about it in a bit, but unironically, I don't think any country on earth has worse hate speech laws than the ones that they're proposing right now. So I already showed you on a video yesterday about this lady, which is basically saying that the government's role is to restrict your rights. Like, she's flat out admitting, look.
When you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom.
So she's basically saying, when you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom, which is false. Like, for instance, the Constitution of the United States of America. It's not to restrict freedoms. It's to make sure that the government doesn't infringe on people's rights. Right? Like the Second Amendment, when you allow people to have guns and stuff, like that is genuinely not to restrict freedom. So basically this is her statement, right? And then she goes on.
That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good.
Of the politicians. Her common good. Not yours. Hers.
You will see throughout our constitution, yes, you have rights, but they are restricted for the common good.
How does that work? Like you have rights, but they're restricted. The best comedy that I've seen about this is from this lady. Like this lady just spot on brought the sarcasm to where it needs to be.
We need you to stay in your home for a couple weeks. It's for the greater good. We need you to close your business just for a short time. It's for the greater good. We need you to stay home just a little bit longer than 2 weeks. It's for the greater good. We need you to wear this on your face. It's for the greater good. We need you to wear 2 of these on your face. It's for the greater good. We need you to inject this into your body. It's for the greater good. We need you to spend the holidays alone. It's for the greater good. You must inject this into your body if you want to feed your family. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop eating that. It's not good for the environment. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop driving your car and flying. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop heating your home so often. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop saying that. It's hurting some people's feelings. This is for the greater good. We need you to stop having children. It's not good for the planet. This is for the greater good. We need you to stop talking about your faith. It's offending people. This is for the greater good. We need to separate you from your children because you're not complying. This is for the greater good. We need to hold you in a facility for a little while for not cooperating. This is for the greater good. This is for the greater good.
Right. So, kind of like that, right? I mean, is she off? How off she is from the mark? The fuck you looting for? I get the riots, but the news claimed the riot was looting. But when videos came off, I didn't. Irish had such enriched hands. Yeah, I mean it's interesting, but okay. Let's see what hate speech laws they're trying to pass, right? Because I mean, Ireland already has hate speech laws. Like that's the thing. They already had some. So the question is like, why is there need for new ones? Let me see if I can find them because I think I saved Okay, so basically their complaint, I'm not making this up, this is their complaint, chat, is that the old hate speech laws weren't arresting enough people. Did you guys get that? Like, did you hear that? Like, not enough people were prosecuted under the previous hate speech laws. So now they need to make hate speech laws a lot more encompassing. Who the fuck thinks like that? Okay, it's kind of like saying, so you don't even admit the fact that maybe you just don't have a problem. Like maybe Irish people aren't that hateful. No, that can't be it. Like, this is how the left thinks, okay? This is literally their ideology. They will believe that human beings are evil. So it's literally like an ideology against humanity then. Because they can't even have the understanding that, like, maybe Irish people just aren't evil. Maybe they're just not hateful. And that's why your laws aren't prosecuting people. They will say the same, like feminists used to say the same about laws regarding rape. They will say, well, the statistics aren't high. Like, not enough people are being charged with rape, so therefore, we need to make laws more encompassing. Like literally, that's what they're thinking. But it's like, what if you have a country where people don't rape each other? Is that a possibility? That just doesn't even go through their brains. They can't even conceive of something like this. Yeah, it's literally like saying we're not arresting enough people for murder, so therefore we need to make the legislation for what murder is to be more encompassing. So like, if you demolish someone in a debate, well, that's like murdering them. So that should be a crime. Fuck me. Anyway, right, so according to the new hate speech laws, get this. What is now hate speech? It means the attempt of creating. So even the attempt is now a problem, right? Like even if you haven't created, but you're going to. The attempt of creating any type of material that could be, I love this, could be harmful to a protected group. I can't make this shit up, chat. Like, this is the most ambiguous stuff ever. This is not like a legislation which a government would make. This is a legislation that a multi-billion-dollar for-profit company online would have. This is like something that PayPal or Google or, you know, like a corporation would have in their TOS. So that they can decide who they ban and who they don't want to ban. Like literally, if you want to get rid of a person, you can use the legislation. Yeah, it's so fucking vague to the point where, like, if you have a third wave feminist that goes like hashtag yes all men, they can claim, well, that's not hateful. You know, she's just expressing her free speech. I mean, she's allowed to say that. But then if you have like a person that says we're getting too many immigrants, oh, that is hateful because it may cause harm. Like even if it doesn't cause it, it may. How do you even defend yourself against that in court? Is my question. Like the University of Law where I studied, it was that for a person to be charged with a criminal conviction, it needs to be beyond the shadow of a doubt that he committed the crime. And if the crime is like may cause something, like how does the judge prove that what you said may actually cause harm? Right? It doesn't cause harm, may. And how do you prove that it may not? I mean, dude, it's bizarre. Okay, so it's not even the fact that if you are doing any of this, it's if you attempt it, right? So like even if you attempt it, like you haven't even published anything. If you have a meme on your computer, you got like the first South Park episode that you're trying to meme it, but you haven't made it public. The very fact that you have it, it means that you may attempt to in the future. So basically the idea, I'll tell you why they're doing this. It's not rocket science. They're doing this in order to crack down the protests that are protesting against the government, right? Because the people protesting against migration, they're not protesting against the migrants themselves, they're protesting against the legislation. So what they want is that when you have like what they consider a far right-wing protest or whatever, like if you have a BLM protest which happens to set fire to stores and loot stuff and it's like chaos and anarchy on the streets, like in some places in the US, like that's fine, you know, like that's not something that they're upset. What they get upset for is if it's like a right-wing protest against the government, then they call it far right. And what they want to do is like they can stop individuals from that protest, usually like the leaders, and then they want to look through their phones, and if they find any memes or any, you know, stuff that may be offensive, like any South Park jokes, right? They can claim, oh, this is hateful thing, and you may have used it, like it may cause harm, and we believe that you may actually want to publish this to other people. They will not define what far right is. They will not define what hate is. They will not define any of these things. They are ambiguous on purpose. And by the way, another thing in the bill is that they protect people based on gender. So if you misgender someone, they can say, well, it may cause harm. Like, even if it doesn't, they can say, well, it may cause harm. And because of that, you're now guilty. So you have to pay a fine or go to prison. Isn't it interesting? Yes, apparently right now in Ireland and France, far right is where you get upset that a child got stabbed. Which is also interesting. Here's something that many of you don't know probably. In France, there have been protests, not similar to what we see in Ireland, but pretty close. And what the media doesn't want to say is that the kid that got stabbed is also a Muslim. Right? So like the far right is now protesting because a Muslim person got stabbed. Does that make any sense? I think, you know what I think? I'm a little bit controversial here. I may actually say some dumb stuff, but please bear with me. I think people just don't like hearing that kids getting stabbed exist. You know? Like I think that citizens just don't want that happening in their country. I think that may be the problem. The super chat is disgustingly censored. I don't have any choice in what people can write in their super chats. I can't censor them. I can't uncensor them. It is what it is. It's from YouTube. Ireland is going to have their afuerta moment. I don't know, man. The whole legislation is to make it very difficult for anyone that's not far left to be able to gain power. Like, it's going to be very difficult to challenge these individuals. To start your own political party. To try and disseminate your ideology and your way of thinking. It's going to be incredibly difficult. And that's what they actually want. They're not interested in the safety of minorities or anything like that. The other thing regarding identity politics, right? Like the whole thing with human rights and not discriminating and protective characteristics and stuff. When it was first created after World War II, like the concept that maybe we shouldn't discriminate on people based on criteria they can't change, right? So like a person can't change their race. At the time, they couldn't change their gender. So they can't change their age. So like discriminating to people based on these characteristics is not okay. And most people agree with that, right? Because it's like, well, how would you like it if someone like hated you for being white? It's like, you can't do anything about that, right? Like you can't change your skin color. That's not okay. So most people agreed, yeah, we shouldn't discriminate based on arbitrary characteristics. But the problem happens when you have like this new way of thinking, where a person's arbitrary characteristics becomes their politics. Like they won't say, oh, you're a woman. And you know, it's just it. It's like, okay, well, you're a woman. No, they will say, because you're a woman, you have like this set of politics, right? You're now part of feminism and it represents all women and blah, 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 right? So a person's identity becomes their politics. That's why it's called identity politics. So what do you do then? Because like if you disagree with a person's politics, they will say that you're actually against that person's identity. And this is why it's so difficult, if not impossible right now, for corporations to get rid of all this middle management, of all these people that are there, in order to get money and push identity politics. You know, the diversity officers and everyone else that's in a company, not actually helping to produce the product, but making sure that you have like some wokeness in the commercial, that you have like some wokeness virtue signaling. It's getting so bad that wokeness is the product. Like if you look at Walt Disney, they literally said, and I made a video about it yesterday, they said that they're not interested in profits as much as they are interested in their politics. And they are aware that the public hates their politics, but they will push it anyway. So what do you do then? What are the odds that Connor declares himself king? 0. It was always that way, even with the civil rights movement. I think maybe it's a US thing. I don't know. Like here in my country, it used to be based on class, right? We actually had communism, and it was like a class-based thing. It's like if you're the worker, you have these politics. If you're the bourgeois, you have these politics. It was more like a class-based thing. It can be a gender-based thing. It can be a religion-based thing. Although, like, religion is political in nature. Like, if a person says that they're Amish, you kind of know the politics that they'll have. Like, you kind of know the beliefs that they will have. So I never understood, like, why discriminating based on religion is not okay. Because, like, if someone is an Aztec, right? Like you go back in time and you bring an Aztec or you bring a pagan, someone from the north, like a Norse person that actually did human sacrifices. Yeah, I think you should discriminate based on that. Why shouldn't you? Right? Like if religion is political in nature, you should be able to say, well, actually, hold on a little bit. Like, I don't agree with these things, especially when it's a religious person that tries to influence their politics upon people who aren't part of his religion. I don't think that is even compatible with the secular country. But anyway, take your golden parachute and move on. Man, you say like you let the company burn, but think about it this way. The top 500 companies in the world. I actually looked at it yesterday. You look at the top 500 richest companies in the world. And every single one of them, without any exception, has some form of ESG stuff on their website or in their mission statement. Like they pledge to diversity, inclusivity, and equity. All 500. And the problem with this is that it's not profitable. Like the public is starting to hate it a lot. And if these companies go down, the financial consequences of it are going to be astonishing. Like we're not talking about the mom and pop store. We're talking about things like Chase Bank. Like Chase Bank, going with pronouns and putting it on Twitter. And saying it, if you don't like it, go find another business. And then people genuinely do try to find another business. And like you may say, well, that's good, that's great. It's going to affect your life. The top 500 companies in the world, if they collapse, the damage it will do to people, like you don't understand. This is where people's retirement money is being invested. Like, people work their entire life. Your grandfather worked his entire life and he wants a pension when he is old. If these companies collapse, it's going to be very, very difficult for the average man. Not just for the ones that are in that company. The ones in that company probably have golden parachutes and stuff. You say it's worth it, but I don't know, man. I don't think any of us have seen such economic damage in our lifetimes. Like, legit, you may be in difficulty in finding what food to put on the table. It's not because the United States recognize corporations as human entities. It's more complex. It's usually because of the academia and the schooling system. I think it all started in the 90s. The coffee shops used to have this shit where it's like, oh, we have like environmental friendly coffee and blah blah blah. Like that's where the ideology started becoming a thing. And obviously it's not the coffee shops, but like who goes to the coffee shops, right? It's the university students. And that was the mentality. And those students, which went through those universities and those schools, are now in the middle management of these corporations. And they're pushing for shit that is not popular. Everyone hates it. I mean, look at the Gillette commercial. Holy shit. The Budweiser is just like a recent thing. But like, yes, everyone hates these people. And their politics. And you can't get rid of them because it's identity politics, right? Like, if you try to get rid of them, they will be like, oh, you're doing it because you're racist. Not because of their politics. Identity politics is repackaged Marxism in the form of race over here in the United States. Hot take, abolish Civil Rights Act and subverts the U.S. Constitution. Yes. That, like, literally, they tried in California to abolish the Civil Rights Act. Because they couldn't discriminate against white people. They couldn't have their equity. It's not like civil rights. Like, this is a confusion between, like, civil rights and identity politics. Identity politics hates the civil rights. I mean, unironically, if you go, and this was done as an experiment, like they took quotes from Martin Luther King, and they went to liberal arts colleges, and the university students, they literally thought that they're quotes from Hitler. Like they want to discriminate. They're not like civil libertarians that are like, okay, well, every person should have the right to blah blah. No. They literally believe it's like, well, we can't talk about every person. I need to know, like, what is their race, what is their gender, what is their sexual orientation, and then we can have the conversation. They banned the comment I posted on your video about the queen and her banana eating it because it had the word slice in it. What, did you get like a community guideline strike for it? This is why I don't fucking comment, chat. They want to bring back discrimination based solely on skin color, but for white people. No, not just whites. They discriminate towards Asians as well. Like, there were lawsuits against liberal universities, and the Asians are the ones that started them. They want to discriminate against Jewish people in some cases, like you saw right now with the conflict in the Middle East. There's a lot of universities that genuinely like discriminate against Jewish professors. Which is kind of funny because those same professors like have published papers in some cases where they created the system that's capable of discriminating. In fact, Elon Musk talked about it, and the ADL was fuming. They were furious because Elon Musk even mentioned it. Hello, AgriJager. Welcome back. It is karma. It's kind of like at the beginning of the Soviet Union, you have the Leninists, and they create the system of oppression. But the moment Stalin comes into power, they get oppressed. It's kind of like that. It's funny because Stalin was the HR lady. Like, literally, he was the person that was in charge of giving people jobs. And this is what I always said. Like, I don't care who the company CEO is. I mean, he's got power and all, but like, it's very difficult to change the policy of a company top down. The best place to change the policy of a company is to decide who you hire, who you promote, and who you fire. And that's what the HR does. So the HR is actually the ones that are busy into empire building and shit. Katis Fineto says that government doing it is either bad as freedom would be good, but freedom isn't something that the government likes. I guess it depends on the type of governments. Not all governments are that mad with power, by the way. Usually, it's rare to see in history a government that isn't, but like the US, for instance. Back in the time of the Wild West, after the War of Independence, sorry, not in the Wild, after the War of Independence, government wasn't like mad with power. At least I didn't get the vibe of it from reading it from the history books. Let me see what the Guardian says about Ireland. So according to The Guardian, the Dublin riot shocked Ireland. So I love the fact that The Guardian wasn't shocked about the kid getting stabbed or women getting stabbed. Like, no, that's just normal for The Guardian, I guess. What they are shocked is that people are protesting about it. Like, that's what's shocking the journalists at The Guardian. Strange duality, the riots in Dublin. The level of violence caught most people by surprise, and yet there was also a feeling of inevitability about it. You have the novelist Paul Lynch captured the mood in his acceptance speech on Sunday. He says he was astonished by the disturbances, that the possibility for such disquiet to break out is always under the surface. Again, like, no one is talking about the stabbings, like the root of what caused the riots. Like, if you want to tackle the problem, you look at, like, okay, but like, what got people upset? Why are they on the street? No, we're not going to talk about that. They just came out of the ether. You know, one Sunday morning, they all decided, hey, we need to go out and riot. That's probably what happened if you read The Guardian. Few expected us to see the capital descend into a violent hellscape. Notice how they never used these words when you had the BLM protest during the pandemic, or the siege at the White House in the US. Now, I know The Guardian is a British publication, but they cover American news as well. And for some reason, they didn't use this interesting language. So apparently it's far-right agitators speculating that the attack bore the hallmarks of Islamic terrorism and they were whipped out into a frenzy. A kid got stabbed. You know when feminists took the streets because of the gender pay gap or the patriarchy or something like that? No one, like they had a different language about that, didn't they? I know that my camera is off. It will remain off. They also referenced a school teacher who was murdered in 2022, led to a national conversation about women's safety, and is regularly cited by the far right as exemplifying the apparent threat foreign men possess on Irish women. Unconfirmed reports on Thursday that the perpetrator was an immigrant to Ireland. Well, hold on. Are the reports unconfirmed? Or did they got confirmed? Like how long has it been? It's been this is from 27. Okay, so haven't they confirmed it? Oh, it's since been reported that although the suspect Algerian born, he is a naturalized Irish citizen. I see. But well, here's the thing. Let's assume that nothing has to do with nationality. Like, let's assume that all of this is an Irish thing. That doesn't the conversation about like how much immigration should be allowed in a nation be up for discussion? Like, I'm not saying that maybe, you know, they want even more immigration. But like, shouldn't the people get to decide like how much is it okay? Or is like immigration like something like the weather? Like, you can't stop it, you know? It's just open borders. And by the way, like, here's another hot take. I'm actually fine with immigration. Like, let anyone come that they want to. But let's cut off the welfare. Like, no more welfare. You know, like the working man that goes and he toils for 10 hours a day. When he comes home, he gets to keep almost all of his money. Like, the government only takes what's needed for the roads, the police, the military, the firefighters, and a couple of other essential activities. But most of the cash the person should be able to keep. And then you can have open borders. I don't fucking care. Just let anyone in. And no foreign wars either. Because I don't want the people coming in to have grievances. Like, for instance, this is what France is having, right? Like if you have a nation, like if you're in a nation like France, which is involved in NATO, and they support a nation in the Middle East in a conflict, you don't want people who are on the other side of the conflict to be able and migrate there, right? Because they will have grievances. It makes sense, doesn't it? So no more foreign wars. No more involvement in foreign conflicts. No more involvement in foreign conflicts. No more welfare. And then have open borders. Sure, why not? I mean, I'm actually curious like how many would come in that situation. Every live streamer worth his salt has a working cat. I don't. V, the natural instinct of any government is to acquire as much centralized power to have control over its citizens. Again, there can be good people in the government, but that doesn't change its nature. No, it's true. But like, the government is going to expand, but there have been governments in human history that were more, I'm not sure if you say benevolent, but less power hungry than the ones that are now. So as vehicles burned and shops were looted, they're going to take it more seriously. And politicians and elements of the media often see the far right as a harmless group of conspiracy nuts. Hold on, when did the media see the far right as a harmless group? Like, which media are they talking about? Because, like, if anything, the far right is being viewed as some of the worst evil ever imagined. They're worse than communists. They're worse than anything. Like, I don't believe that the media has already said that there's something that's not as worse as the far right. Huh? But really, The Guardian says that no one took the far right seriously. Okay. The election fell a month before the COVID pandemic when the government swelled its ranks via anti-lockdown groups on social media. Yes, the evil far right that was suggesting that maybe people's businesses should remain open. Like maybe people should be able to feed themselves and their family. Maybe you shouldn't show your papers to the waiter at McDonald's. Right? Maybe you shouldn't show QR code. You shouldn't have checkpoints. There were people that smuggled fucking KFC in the Netherlands during the pandemic. Like there were pictures in the media with some people that had like their trunk of their car filled with KFC food, and they couldn't explain it to the police how they got it, because like in order to get it they had to pass like a lockdown checkpoint. Right? So you want me to tell me that the far right is those evil bigots that wanted that shit to stop? Yes, I know, horrible. Horrible individuals. Oh my god. A 2020 election exit poll showed that just 1% of people considered immigration when they voted. It is now one of the dominant political subjects in Ireland. Well, maybe something has happened, right? That's such a bizarre take. It's like, yes, well, 2 years ago, people didn't care about this shit, and now they do. Well, let me put it this way, right? Like, 2 years ago, well, actually, 3 years ago, no one cared that much about public health. I mean, they would care about it, but from a perspective of, if I get sick, will I be able to pay the hospital bill, right? And then you have, like, something happening, and everyone is like, no, actually, you're not allowed to go to your business anymore. No, sorry, you can't go to your job. Oh, you have some tenants living in your house? Oh, well, you can't take rent from them anymore. No, they just have to stay there. Oh, you're not able to pay your mortgage to the bank? Oh, well, the bank can take your house, of course. Like, maybe that happened, and then everyone is having, like, a different conversation about doctors and hospitals and shit. The 1% were actually honest with their exit poll. That's also another question, you know? Like, how many of them are genuinely honest when they answer an exit poll? For a couple of years, the common flu was cured. Oh yeah, like the statistics for the common flu. Anyway, right. I'll end it here. Hopefully you guys... have interesting opinions about what's happening, and you're going to put them in the comment section, and I'll see you all later. Take care.